Coming up this week, off-screen.
The bad moms celebrate Christmas.
A sacred deer meets a sticky end.
We meet Marjorie Prime.
Ferrari races for immortality.
Arnie gets welcomed back to the jungle as Predator returns to cinemas.
78 setups and 52 cuts lead to a masterpiece.
Joachim Trier introduces to Thelma.
And those darn lambs still won't stop screaming.
All to come and more off-screen.
This is Off-Screen. Off-Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off-Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Welcome to Off-Screen, I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Case Allen.
So, Mr. Allen, how's your week been?
It's been okay. I went to London.
You did with me?
Yeah.
We had fun.
I had a Cinnabon.
You did?
First time. It was really good.
You had a New York fold as well. So.
I had New York fold. I had 2 slices of amazing pizza just to plug their pizza.
Yeah, well,
because
we are big fans of New York fold. Well, I am.
Yeah, no, I had Cinnabon for the first time. I then had diabetes on Tuesday.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wilfred Brimley there. I had diabetes.
Diabetes.
Why does he call it diabetes? Anyway, so before we do the reviews, before we do the bulk of the news, the box office top 5, give us our chief piece of news. What are we going to kick off with?
That's what we're going to kick off with. Shazam!
Shazam?
Yeah, I've been practicing that for a while.
Is that the movie with Shaq O'Neal as a genie? That doesn't exist.
I would love Zachary Levi to be Shazam.
So this is the DC Comics Shazam. This is what used to be called Captain Marvel, is now called Shazam.
Yes, and we are getting Captain Marvel, but the other Captain Marvel from Marvel, starring Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
There is a whole story behind that. Google it. Promise you won't be disappointed. But go on, carry on.
Yeah, so Shazam is also known as Captain Marvel, but for DCEU, just Shazam.
Yeah.
Shazam.
Okay, so Shazam.
Shazam. Yeah. And we knew there was going to be a film with Shazam for a while. It's going to be directed by the guy that did Lights Out.
Is that David F. Sandberg, I want to say?
Yes.
Is that the one? Right.
Yes,
okay.
it is. And now we know that it's going to be Zachary Levi who's playing Shazam, which I think is a really ace choice.
I like him. He's Chuck. I like Chuck, so why not?
I can't recall him being in any leading film roles.
I think you'll find he was the lead male in Tangled, sir.
Well, all right, live action. I know, but he's Flynn Rider.
I do have a niece. Bargain, sir.
Yeah,
he is indeed Flynn Rider.
I think this is great. I don't know. Well, no one seems to know yet if Dwayne Johnson is going to be in the Shazam film.
They have actually. They did say he's not going to appear. I've heard he's not.
Well, that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Well.
So we're going to have Shazam, and then the Black Adam film, and then Shazam and Black Adam.
Yeah,
so they're putting all them eggs in that basket.
I don't know. I despair with the DC movies. Even Henry Cavill now admits he doesn't know what the hell they were doing. Yeah. So
stop announcing films.
That's what they do. That's how they think the business works. You announce films. You never have to make them. You just announce them.
Gentleman Ghost. Let's have that. He's everyone's favourite Batman villain.
Look, all I want to know is if they're just going to keep announcing DC movies willy-nilly, can we at least have one for The Question? You don't actually have to make it.
Oh, I want a show of The Question. It'd be amazing.
That would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I like in the DCAU in the animated universe, he was played by Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs voiced The Question, and it was amazing. It was absolutely brilliant. It was
how did he look as well? Just no face.
The blank face, good detective suit, loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I'll have to show you something.
Love The Question.
Should we do our first review of the week then? Because this is one we've both seen for a change.
We've seen it.
So,
we have seen it.
78-52 then, which refers to 78 shots or 78 camera setups and 52 cuts that make up the shower scene from Psycho. And what you have is a 90-minute long documentary. Is it 90 minutes? I think it's 90.
Right about, yeah.
91-minute documentary about the shower scene from Psycho. How they made it, what it means, what its legacy is. Everything you could possibly want to know about the shower scene from Psycho. Here is a clip of Elijah Wood and his mates talking about the shower scene from Psycho.
It's so ingrained in pop culture to where it is transcendent.
My 7-year-old daughter knows that, but she doesn't know what it comes from. But she's made that joke. Hey. Like, I don't know where she got it.
That's incredible.
She has no idea it's from Psycho. It's evolutionary. Like, we're just born knowing the shower scene.
And you know what? They've got a point, haven't they? The shower scene.
Everyone knows it.
It's so iconic, isn't it? I knew it before I ever saw it. I think because pop culture, because of things like The Simpsons and comedies and how many episodes of Seinfeld and Friends, things like that, everything has parodied this particular iconic scene. Whether or not he parodied the rest of Psycho is a whole other story, but...
Dressing up as your mum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, The Simpsons did that too. Mother, that sailor suit doesn't fit anymore. Right, you would think that it would be tough to grind 91 minutes out of such a basic conceit as the shower scene from Psycho. But as anyone who's ever studied film on any level will tell you, I'm sure you didn't do film at uni, did you? Music?
I did music.
You did a film course somewhere down the line, though. Did you college or anything like that?
No.
Media studies?
I just know a lot about film.
Oh, that's fair enough then.
Not to toot my own hope, but there you go.
Well, as anyone who's ever done a film or media studies course will tell you, it is absolutely possible to fill a 91-minute documentary with an analysis of any old rubbish, because it can be done. I've actually personally had to do it for the Battle of Helm's Deep. So, yeah, I've had to film 91 minutes on Helm's Deep.
There's so much to be said about Helm's Deep, though.
I know, and I could have gone for another 2 hours, but but yeah, it happened. So, funnily enough, this never runs out of steam. You can get a lot out of this. The analysis is quite deep, quite insightful. There's some actually quite knowledgeable sort of interviewees in there. Peter Bogdanovich, for instance, Elijah Wood, Lee Winnell. I'm trying to think who else is in that. Jamie Lee Curtis turned up. Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
as well.
Danny Elfman's amazing.
Expect Danny Elfman. Guillermo del Toro. Brett Easton Ellis.
Yeah.
I love that Brett Easton Ellis is in this.
He was like, I wrote Psycho too.
And my favourite one, Mick Garris, the producer of Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay, make of that what you will. I mean, obviously, there's archival footage of Hitchcock himself talking about what he thought certain things meant in it, and it is something that I do think if you've ever wanted to study Hitchcock, you absolutely should see, because Hitchcock is still quite a popular subject in academia. I think it's something that if you're a Hitchcockian academic, you absolutely must see, or an aspiring Hitchcockian academic. You saw it as well. What did you make of it?
I really enjoyed it. I was a bit sceptical as to what it was going to be. I didn't think you could have a full documentary film about it, but I learned quite a bit, and it was
didn't you?
It was really entertaining, really interesting, and I love how enthusiastic Elijah Wood gets about most things, and he really loves this.
He really does.
Like there's quite a few bits where you see people watching it.
Yeah.
So you see him, two people that he worked with. I'm not sure who the two other guys were. Elijah Wood is with two other people. Yeah, you see them watching the scene, and Elijah Wood is just like, it's so good. It's amazing.
He really does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's transfixed, isn't he?
He is, yeah. And Del Toro is watching it as well, and it's really nice to see them watch it.
We absolutely understand the reference that the film gets when you see it, and that scene gets even when you see it in the context of this documentary. So it's written and directed by Alexandre O'Philippe. And I think he obviously has a very high regard for the material himself. I think that affection shows through as well. As I was with you, I wasn't bored at any point by it. I was entertained. I was interested. I was captivated by it. And I mean, if nothing else, I've come away from it now, and I'm thinking I will honestly never look at the shower scene from Psycho the same way ever again. So, yeah, I don't know. So I'd recommend it, wouldn't you?
I really would.
I would. So, shall we plug our podcast, our competitions real quick?
Let's do it.
So, podcast edition. So, we've got extra stuff. So, this week we're reviewing the reissue of Silence of the Lambs and Ferrari Raced to Immortality, which is a really interesting documentary about guess what? That's in the podcast extras, along with more news, along with The Moment of Cage, which is how we close every week. And if you want to listen to that, all you have to do is download the podcast edition, get it through Acast, iTunes, Deezer, TuneIn, pick your podcast poison. And we're on there. Just go to the end credits, and everything afterwards is podcast exclusive. In the meanwhile, though, you can also win some swag, because we like a bit of swag.
We do. What have we got?
Well, this week we got some interesting stuff. So we were giving away, we've got our Geostorm packs we're giving away, which is really cool survival gear from Geostorm. We're running those until November the 3rd. We're running Blu-rays of Blood Simple until November 13th. Yeah, well, this is the 4K 30th anniversary cleanup they've done. And of course, Sorcerer has been reissued on Blu-ray as well. Billy Friedkin's, is it Roy Scheider?
Yes.
Remake of Wages of Fear, isn't it? Wages of Fear. And we're running those both until November the 13th. If you want to win, all you have to do is pop along to onscreenfilm.com/competitions, or just go on onscreenfilm.com and just click. Just save some typing. Just go on and click. And win some swag. And there you have it. We love to give things away. We really do.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen. the on-screen radio show.
And we're back, Mr. Allen. So, you know what it's time for now. It's time to welcome us back to the jungle. It's Predator time. Oh man, we had such fun with this, didn't we?
We did. We took a photo.
We took a photo. It went to
Because we're that lame.
We are so lame, and you could tell as well that the people from Park Circus just did not quite get why we were so excited to be at that screening.
Yeah, but some people there that had never seen Predator before.
Yeah.
I was like, what? How?
Nick Barber from The Guardian has clearly never seen Predator before and did not understand for the life of him why I was so excited pre-screening. And
I wonder if he understands now.
well, I hope he does. When I see him on Monday, when I ask him, do you see the appeal now? But yeah, so Predator, directed by John McTiernan, starring, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger, starring Jesse Ventura, starring Carl Weathers, starring briefly Jean-Claude Van Damme, starring Bill Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not forget about Van Damme. Starring Bill Duke. It's just a hell of a movie, and it's back in cinemas. Right, so the basic gist is you have Major... Is it Colonel or Major Dutch Schaefer?
He's Major.
Major Dutch Schaefer, who is sent into the South American jungle with his elite commando unit to retrieve a... Is he a diplomat? I think we're told it's a diplomat.
Still hostages.
Yeah, some downed hostages and retrieve them from the South American guerrillas. Of course, this all proves to be smoke and mirrors and not quite the mission they signed on for. But then they wind up on another mission they didn't sign up for when it turns out they're being hunted by an alien killer. And yeah, here's a clip.
What the hell do you think you're doing? You're gonna need everyone. I'm taking her back. We're out of here in 5 minutes. You're not going yet. Look, the rendezvous is 10 to 12 miles away from here. You think the chopper's gonna wait?
Dylan, we make a stand now.
Well, there would be nobody left to go to the chopper.
There is something else. When the big man was killed, you must have wanted it. Its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yep, you and I love a bit of Predator, sir, don't we? Oh, yeah, like you just said to me during that clip, where you were quoting along in the screening, and I had absolutely the same experience. But what were you doing the Bill Duke bit?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't care who you are back in the world.
I'll bleed you. I'll bleed you?
I'll bleed you. Real quiet, like.
That's it. I like Jesse Ventura. This stuff will make you a
right.
goddamn sexual tyrannosaur like me. I love Predator.
Also a politician as well.
Yes,
Jesse
also a
Ventura.
politician. It's so weird. So this is the thing. It's an amazing movie. It's still absolutely holding. It's one of my all-time favourite movies. It's my go-to. I will watch this and just feel better about the world. It's part and parcel of why Schwarzenegger was the star he was, because no one else, I think, could have led this. You couldn't have had this movie starring Sylvester Stallone. It would have had nowhere near the effect that it did.
No.
But it's a large part of why it's so successful is the writing, the character writing. Those are great characters. And the brilliant casting that they all have. Like, no one could have been Billy except Sonny Landham. Even though I'm pretty sure they wish that literally anyone else had
Sonny
been...
Landham, yeah.
had been in that role rather
But
than Sonny Landham.
they all have different things to do within the team. We all have got different advantages, and I think that's why, as characters, we all work really well.
It's a formula that they've tried to replicate since, like Predators, notably tried to replicate.
Like, you need someone who's like
Doesn't
the
quite
Joker. You need like the really, really big guy.
Yeah.
You need the one that's a bit like mystical and it's like, Billy.
Bill Duke turns up in a suit to his commando camp at the beginning,
Which is
full
amazing.
suit.
Everyone else is wearing like tank tops. And,
Yeah, everyone Jesse Ventura turns up with a cowboy hat and an MTV t-shirt. Bill Duke,
Oh, that
full
MTV
suit.
shirt. I
know.
love that MTV t-shirt.
I absolutely love it. I mean, it's one of those films. Having seen it on the big screen now again, I absolutely love how well staged it is, how cinematic it remains, because it's a film we're used to seeing on video now. But it's
I've never seen it on a big screen.
How did you find the experience?
Loved it.
You loved it.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a screen as well, but it was amazing. To see
We did sit on the front row.
It was like we were at an IMAX, but not.
I know. Did you find it was more immersive on the big screen?
Yeah,
I find that it really does suck you in.
Yeah, definitely.
I like having the jungle be an all-encompassing. feeling.
it sounded incredible. I think as far as like the restoration goes, that's the thing that I only noticed was the
gorgeous
sound.
sounding movie, isn't it?
Yeah,
because that jungle really has a life of its own in the audio.
and every time a gun goes off, you feel it as
Yeah,
well.
it just echoes
the
through you.
sound design is amazing in that film.
It is. I love the staging of it. I think John McTiernan's absolute.
Is John
absolute
McTiernan
masterpiece.
allowed out of movie jail?
I don't know. Is he? I don't know.
He got done for, was it tax evasion, I think, a while ago?
Well, Wesley Snipes is at you again, isn't he? So
yeah, Wesley Snipes is out.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes is at you again, so I say we give Johnny the go as well, because there's got to be another Die Hard movie coming, and can we not get Len booted and get jumped in back on?
Maybe. I love that joke in 30 Rock where Michael Sheen is also called Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
And he's like, when you hear the name Wesley Snipes, who do you think of?
Oh, I miss 30 Rock so much. So, do you want to give me a quick piece of news then before we go to the box office top 5?
We might be getting back Lethal Weapon 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd still be okay with it.
You're sticking with the 80s action theme now, aren't you? That's what you're doing.
Segue.
And Shane Black.
Yeah.
You really are, yeah.
My segue's about good. I didn't even
I know, yeah. It's so good. You didn't even know what you were doing.
Apparently, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Richard Donner, or Dick Donner to his pals.
Dick
Donner. I've just been talking about it. I've been having a really, really good time, like, reminiscing. So this might be a thing.
Well,
how old is Dick Donner now, bro?
Isn't he like 80-something
He's
years old now?
Way into his 80s.
He is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that guy was my middle age when he was doing Superman. That was the 70s. But I don't know. I mean, I'm half and half on whether or not Lethal Weapon should ever come back, because I think the fourth one was a step too far.
I don't mind the fourth one.
I don't mind it, but I do.
There's a lot of Chris Rock.
There's a lot of Chris Rock, and I do kind of think...
I like Chris Rock.
The story loses a lot of the effect for me when you've got Jet Li beating up two pensioners. You know,
Yeah.
I'll never quite get over
So
that.
unless, like, your villain is another pensioner.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Unless it's Al Pacino.
Exactly. If Anthony Hopkins wants to try and kill Riggs and Murtaugh, I'm on board for that movie.
I feel like Anthony Hopkins can't say no to anything right now.
Exactly. So, you get him for a decent price. Yeah, you want to know, don't you, dude? Yeah, exactly. It'll happen. Why not?
Oh, he said dude in a film.
Should we do the top 5 then?
Yeah.
Number 5.
A Blade Runner.
2049, sir. So, I mean, it's hanging in there, isn't it, Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah, it's actually done pretty well in this country. It didn't tank in America, but it's just not lived up to expectations. But expectations should have been low anyway, because it's Blade Runner.
Well,
which
yeah,
didn't
exactly.
make much on the first
It was never really a box office draw, was it, Blade Runner? So the idea that it would be now is kind of gobsmacking to me. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a gorgeous film. I mean, someone made the point the other day, could you imagine if we got like a Batman Beyond movie from these guys, what that would be like? And the answer is absolutely gobsmacking. But probably, to be honest, the same thing as if you asked Christopher Nolan. So, but yeah, Denis Villeneuve, this is his Look at Me, I Am Amazing movie, and I think it's undeniable.
All of these movies have been Look at Me, I Am Amazing.
But I think it's undeniable now. The argument stops here. There is absolutely no counter-argument to Denis Villeneuve is an amazing filmmaker. But yeah, I mean, does Twitter have anything different on the subject?
I mean, it looks like this guy agrees. So Paul Mitchell, who is at Gaston Grimsdyke.
Grimsdyke? Okay.
Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell says, if you don't like Blade Runner, hashtag Blade Runner 2049, you are a fudging moron.
A fudging moron?
Yes.
Fair play to you,
but
sir.
he didn't say fudging.
He didn't say fudging.
Number 4.
The Death of Stalin.
Which I loved. And I mean, I know Peter Bradshaw famously called it the film of the year. I wouldn't go that far. I think it's one of the funniest films of the year, hands down. But you know what? Get Out came out in this year. So I think calling anything else
We've had
film
a lot
of the year.
of great films this year.
Exactly. And Geostorm, you can't, in a year in which we've had Geostorm, I think...
Everything else.
Yeah.
Because Geostorm happens to be the best sci-fi, the best action, the best comedy.
It is the best Gerard Butler movie of this year, I'll have you know. Or as Alan Frank would say,
he's in a few.
Best movie of its title I've seen all week. So... back to The Death of Stalin, which I had a great time with. I thought it was funny. I thought it was quite cutting. I thought it was quite quite to the bone, quite raw. But as a character-driven, dialogue-heavy comedy, it's what Armando Iannucci does best. Have you got a tweet for me?
Yes, at Smart Giles, whose name is actually Giles Smart.
Excellent.
Well done, Giles. Just saw hashtag The Death of Stalin and loved it. Terrifically sharp and chilling, the vicious banality of political power.
Number 3.
The Lego Ninjago movie.
Did you see Lego Ninjago? I can't remember.
I've not seen it yet.
No, I really liked it. I mean, it's one of those films. I had to keep saying with this one, it's the weakest of all the Lego movies, and yet, were you actually just mouthing out what I was going to say?
We say it every week.
Okay, fair enough. Am I that predictable now? Oh,
Yeah,
we've spent
that's
too
a
much.
challenge for next week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to come up with
If it's
a new
back.
thing. We've spent too much time together.
Yeah.
But yeah, the weakest of all the Lego movies, and yet I still love the hell out of it. And
Yeah,
that just
I
tells
do want to see it.
Yeah, it tells you how good the Lego movies are in general. I think the thing with Ninjago is the casting. The casting works, largely with the exception of Justin Theroux, and that's only because I thought it was Will Arnett. But actually...
Yeah, who was doing his Jack Donaghy.
Yeah, which outside of that is not really an inherently bad thing anyway. It's still a pretty amusing villain. I had a lot of fun with it. So over to Twitter.
At SuperMe84, me spelt M-I-I.
Okay.
I watched # the Lego Ninjago movie, and it was an awesome 9 out of 10.
Excellent, fair enough.
Number 2.
I love this ending music.
I know, it's so
amazing.
good, isn't it?
It's like, it was that guy.
I know.
That's what the music
it
is.
was Kaiser Soze.
We can't say that anymore.
No, we can't.
Ruined it.
Stop using that term.
I use that reference so much as well.
We've not said that this is Jigsaw, have we? we didn't.
It was implied.
It was implied. It was a Saw thing. It was Jigsaw.
Yeah, Jigsaw.
Okay. So,
or Saw Legacy.
You saw this as well, didn't you?
I did. I saw it on Sunday.
I loved it.
I had
you did as well.
a good old time. There was someone sat next to us who, this was the most shocking film she'd ever seen. But there were certain bits where she was like, "No way!" That kind of reaction, and it was just adorable.
That sounds like the girl I sat next to during Rogue One. But,
yeah, for that bit.
Yeah, for that bit. Anyway, I liked it, and I didn't expect it to be. I didn't expect it to be a game changer. I expected it to be Saw's greatest hits, or
it was
the Return of Saw, and that's exactly what I got. So
I was not disappointed with it.
No, not at all. I was very happy with it. So.
At Eric Walkuski. Good name, strong name. Strong, bold. The one thing #Jigsaw had to do was bring something new to the table. It did not do that. Just another Blair Saw movie, folks. Well, now this guy's had his opinion and we can all sleep soundly.
Well, indeed. But you know what? I agree with him. But he seems to think that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't have to do anything new with it.
Probably another Guardian critic. Never seen Predator.
Oh, I know.
Number 1.
Ragnarok.
Rag your rock, sir. No, so Thor Ragnarok, which I absolutely adored. I think you did as well, didn't you?
I really did. How much has it made?
How much has it made? Is it written? It's on it's on our first page, I believe. It has made
12 million.
12 million,
which is
that's a lot of
really
green.
Good for that film.
Well, it had 4 days of previews. So.
It came out on a Tuesday.
Tuesday. That's a long opening weekend.
The strongest Tuesday opening ever, because there's been 5 films open on a Tuesday.
I love it when they say, it's the
one of the Spider-Men did that. I think Amazing Spider-Man 1 did that.
When
Best
they say,
Tuesday ever.
It's the highest grossing R-rated film on a Thursday ever. You're like, okay.
You are clambering for records.
Was there a long list there? But, I loved the hell out of Thor Ragnarok. What an adventure. What a wild, fantastical galactic ride.
It's top, at least top 3 MCU.
Really, you think? I think it's top 3 most fun, definitely.
So we've got different categories.
We've got different categories. Top 3 most fun. Hey, it's not Iron Man First Avengers.
It's not Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3.
I don't like Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
no, it's not Iron Man 1, The Avengers, or Iron Man 3, so,
You'd put Iron Man 3 that high. I do really like Iron Man 3. A lot of people unjustly have a go at it.
Yeah, people are weird like that. Actually, no, I don't put Iron Man 3 in my top 3. It's Iron Man, The Avengers, and Winter Soldier, actually.
What about Guardians?
Number 4. That's my 4. Number 5, Spider-Man Homecoming, if you must know. But
on any day of the week, you could ask me, and this might be number 1. I need to see it again.
So I think Goldblum steals it. I think we agree there as well.
I think different people steal it at different times. You can make an argument that Tessa Thompson steals it.
Oh, she's so
Mark
good.
Ruffalo steals it because the Hulk talks, but is amazing.
Yeah. Although actually, Mark Ruffalo in his time as Bruce Banner as well, I think is amazing.
Yeah.
I think
he plays it like someone that has not been himself for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think just the stuff, the way that they depict his character, which is actually kind of new, which is to have him be kind of confused, is actually quite fun.
Yeah, because usually he's smart. And there's someone to go to about things.
There are lines that's always like, oh yeah, you woohoo with your science. Which I love. And also, I do like that we do finally get some expansion of the Thor-Hulk relationship in a way that we didn't quite ever expect that we'd have to.
No, Taika Waititi said, Taika Waititi was asked why those characters had filmed together, and he said, they were left out of Civil War.
That's absolutely fair.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back and dancing, Mr. Allen. So, our next review is one, again, that we've both seen. In fact, the next two are ones that we've both seen.
This is such a rarity.
I know, imagine that. You having seen, like, films at the same time.
B2C films.
Yeah, it's nice
happens.
having, like, half term, isn't it? Yeah. So, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which, do you remember the name of the director for this? Because I don't.
Yeah, Yorgos
yeah.
Lind.
I'm literally
the guy that did The Lobster.
Exactly, the guy that did The Lobster.
I find most people just say that.
Yorgos Lanthimos, I believe is his name. And, okay, so this stars Colin Farrell, stars Nicole Kidman, stars Alicia Silverstone, of all people, Rafi Cassidy from Tomorrowland. She was a little android girl in Tomorrowland. And Barry Keoghan?
Is he George from
George? Yeah, from
it's a war, George. We're going to war.
We're going to war, George. Okay, so this is the story of a surgeon played by Colin Farrell, who, in a very bearded, sort of almost panther-like, strong beard, yeah, who has sort of befriended a young boy as a sort of mentor figure to a young boy, played by Barry Keoghan, and he introduces the young boy, who's from a sort of broken home and wants to pursue a career in medicine down the line. He introduces him to his family, the idea being that he can benefit from their domestic life. It will help him in his own life. But the introduction brings with it a chaos to Stephen's own family. So it brings with it an element of blackmail. It brings with it a sort of familial unraveling. It brings with it a deadline that you wouldn't quite see coming. And there's you can't really go too far into the plot of this one without kind of spoiling the hell out of it. It's a very, very unique film, to say the least. And I'll tell you what, here's a clip that's going to set up probably the defining thing about this movie.
What happened?
Everything's absolutely fine. Larry gave him a thorough neurological exam. It's nothing. You two go home, and we'll talk tonight. I won't be late. My schedule today is pretty light, okay?
Maybe you should get an MRI.
There's no need to bother with all that. He just got scared, that's all. He's absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think maybe there was a test at school today that we hadn't prepared for very well.
Yes, you want to spend the day at the hospital with Larry and us. Let's go.
Dad?
Yeah?
Aren't you going to show us an operating theater?
Another time, darling. They need me to prep for surgery right away. I have to go. I'll see you tonight.
Yeah, it's not the most straightforward sounding clip, is it, in sort of execution? But the film is...
I've seen it. I didn't understand that clip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the film is very, very odd. I went through this in three distinct phases, and you're going to have to tell me if you had a similar experience. The first third of this movie, I was trying to get to grips with exactly what it was, what the tone was, what the cadence of it was. The second third, I found the cadence, and I quite enjoyed it. The final third, it lost that cadence and it felt the need to go more heavily into its own narrative and conclude its own plot, and I thought it felt very forced. So you tell me, how did it work for you?
Yeah, similar kind of thing.
Similar kind of thing.
Then if I split up into like three distinct sections, or not, I don't think that's the way that I viewed it. I saw it as one complete thing. There's one bit where it is just like, here's the plot.
Yes, pretty much. In fact,
this is what's like there's one interaction.
One character sits down and literally tells another character the plot.
Yeah.
And it's weirdly late in the film as well.
That's about as expositional as we get.
Yes. Wow, okay.
Which, for one thing, that's really bold and really, fair play to it for doing that.
This is the thing, you've seen The Lobster and I haven't. How do you...
Lobsters is more straightforward.
You think it's more straightforward film than this? Okay, that's fair enough.
They share a lot of humour, and you wouldn't think this film has humour. I found parts of it really funny.
It's a very satirical film. It's like a satirical version of a psycho thriller.
I found it funny the way that I find Kill List funny.
Okay. I didn't find Kill List funny, but that's fair enough.
Not that I find like people getting messed up by hammers funny.
It's absolutely
there are bits in Kill List where it is absolutely hilarious, where like the delivery of some of the lines are really funny.
No, I'll go with that. I still don't know exactly where the sacred deer came into, because I was looking. There were no deer in this movie.
There weren't any sacred ones.
No. Gorgeously shot movie, though. I mean, really brilliant. There's an otherworldly quality to it. There's a sequence with a young boy in a hospital at one point that's shot from a completely God's eye view that's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's a visually stunning movie. It's a very arresting film. But you will spend an inordinate amount of its time trying to work out whether or not you either A, get what the hell is going on, or B, are enjoying it or interested in it. And that weird tone and cadence that you've heard in that clip, that is all the way through. That is not singular to that one scene. It is that weird, maybe he had a test and we did not know. That sort of deadpan droll sense of humour to it all. And yeah, I mean, it's got no mainstream appeal. There's no mainstream crossover appeal in this whatsoever, I don't think.
Not to say that it has to.
Not that it has to, but I mean, it is kind of the big release this week that isn't written by Agatha Christie. So...
Yeah, which we are not.
We're not reviewing because
we're not reviewing it.
Yeah, it was subject to filmmaker approval, apparently.
Yeah,
so
we don't want the spoiler to be released of that film.
No. I mean, God forbid anyone knows who the killer is in Murder on the Orient Express. I mean, it's not like the book's been around.
It's newish, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
like the book's not come out yet.
No,
we just sold the story rights.
The novel will be published next year, and then you'll be able to read in the book who actually committed the murder on the Orient Express as well. And it was Derek Jacobi. I made that up, by the way. Don't worry,
because I genuinely don't know. I don't know how I've avoided it.
Don't worry, I made that up. Anyway,
but I do suspect.
You have suspects. Funny enough, so does Poirot. Do you want to give me a piece of? Should we go straight to Marjorie Prime then?
Okay. So we've seen this as well.
We've both seen this one. So, Marjorie Prime, which stars John Hamm, and is it Lois Smith, I believe?
It is.
So, Marjorie Prime...
I was trying to work out what I knew Lois Smith from.
Twister. Yes, it's Twister. I had the same thought, had to look it up. We know her from Twister.
Yeah.
She's very much a sort of B-level, actually a C-level character actress.
I mentioned earlier, she's like June Squibb.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. But June Squibb has had a sort of a weird bumping up that list in recent years, since Nebraska.
Yeah. Which she's great in.
She is great in that. So this stars John Hamm, Lois Smith, Tim Robbins, Gina Davis, and I think that's it for the main cast. And it basically is about... Lois Smith is, in her later years, she's succumbing to dementia, she's lost her husband, and as a sort of therapeutic aid, her son-in-law has arranged for her to have a holographic recreation of the younger years of her husband, played by John Hamm, whose job it basically is to be a companion, a sort of therapeutic companion, kind of like a therapy dog.
Yeah.
Like a therapy dog. Only, he happens to look and sound an awful lot like her former husband. We have a clip.
I could tell you a story. You liked that the last time.
I'll have to take your word for it.
I could tell you about the time we saw a movie.
We went to a lot of movies.
But one time we saw my best friend's wedding.
My best friend's wedding.
There was a woman, Julia Roberts. For a while, it was always Julia Roberts. And she had an agreement with her best friend, her male best friend, that if they weren't married by the time they hit a certain age, they would marry each other. And she was about to remind him of this agreement when it turns out he had already fallen in love with a nice blonde, Cameron Diaz.
He does go on in that scene, actually, to give the best synopsis of My Best Friend's Wedding that I've ever heard. Namely, she has and it all ends happily because she has a gay friend who makes one-liners. Yeah, fair enough. I was kind of impressed by this in one sense. I think the actual storytelling was quite well staged, and it was terrifically well performed.
Yeah. But you said it, you could really tell it was a play.
Yes, very much so. At the end of the film, it does tell you this was a play, and you think, actually, yes, that kind of makes sense. Apparently, it was filmed in 13 days. And you kind of get that impression they have literally done this as a sort of stage-like exercise. There's a lot of rehearsals gone into it, and then we're filming this, we're belting this out. I think Hamm is very, very good in it. I think Lois Smith is probably the MVP of it all.
Yeah, she's really good.
She is really good. Gina Davis and Tim Robbins are just always fun to see on screen. It's always nice.
I can't remember the last time I saw Gina Davis in a film.
Do you know, I can't, actually, offhand. I think I'm so used to seeing her turn up at, film festivals now, things like that.
Yeah, she does a lot of talks, women's rights.
Yeah,
that kind of
lots of that stuff. Women in the media kind of a thing.
Yeah, which is really great. She is in a documentary called Misconduct.
Yes, I watched that. Yes, it is Misconduct. It's on Netflix, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I did watch it. It was quite good.
It was good.
But yeah, really solid. This feels very much like, I think you and I debated this there and then, didn't we, at the screening? I said, it's like a Noah Baumbach version of a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
If I did say the Duplass brothers first.
And I shot you down.
You shot me down. Like, okay, Baumbach.
Because
Baumbach.
Duplass films are always markedly different. Like, all the shows they do are really different, but not just mumblecore. It's not like the guy that does Easy.
Okay,
what's his name? The guy that does Easy and Dick for Fire and
is that
Last Christmas.
Why do I want to say Emmerich? Something Emmerich or Noah? I don't know.
I'll find it.
You'll find
carry on with your words.
But yeah, so this is written and directed for the screen by Michael Almereyda, who I believe was behind the stage play as well. It's really well staged. It's gorgeous to look at. It very much relies on that clean-cut, sharp lines, soft focus aesthetic of future set episodes of Black Mirror.
Joe Swanberg.
Joe Swanberg, thank you.
Of course,
yes. Yeah. But yeah, I did like it, but I think it's slightly too talky and overlong for its own good. I mean, this clocked in at 99 minutes. Did it feel like 99 minutes to you?
Felt longer.
Felt like about the 2 hour mark, didn't it?
It's not to say that I didn't like it. It was maybe too long, but yeah.
I feel like were it down to about 75 minutes in length, it probably would have still felt like a full and complete film.
Essentially, as well, it's the same 3 conversations, just with different groupings out of those 4 people.
Very much so.
And I can't really say anything else.
No, that's fair. Did you like it on the whole?
On the whole, I liked it. I don't know if I would see it again. I'd probably recommend it if it was on Netflix and you'd gone through season 5 of Black Mirror really quickly. Or fair. Season 4, whichever one the new season is.
Oh, I thought you were just saying you can watch this in like 2 years' time.
Maybe you could, yeah.
Maybe you could.
Maybe this would be a good companion to like Electric Dreams or Black Mirror.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I would say that's a pretty good...
Do you know, watch with John Hamm, Black Mirror, then watch this.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back, Mr. Allen. So, do you want to give me some news before we go to our final review of the week?
I do. So, Inhumans, that was bad.
You've seen the Inhumans now?
No, I'm just jumping on the bandwagon.
Oh, okay.
I've still not watched it. But IMAX have now declared that it was a bit of a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an experiment, and fair play to them for trying, but it did not pan out.
It didn't work out, did it?
Yeah.
I'll say something. I knew that was doomed when I came back off holiday, went to the Friday night screening, Friday night, 9 p.m. IMAX screening of that event. And there were about 7 people in that screen.
Yeah.
And wow.
Sounds about right.
And the episode was bad, and I've been watching the series since it's actually aired. I think we're 1 or 2 episodes away from the very end. And do you know what? It hasn't ever gotten any better. I've not enjoyed a single minute of it. It legitimately is the worst thing to have a Marvel Studios badge slapped on it.
Does it start with the double bill, the 2-parter?
The 2-parter, that was what was on the IMAX screen. It's not a 2-parter, it's just the first 2 episodes.
Just the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I think
a pilot movie.
I will watch those just so I know.
It's
one of those things. I feel like it could have been a feature film, and it was announced to be a feature film as part of the MCU.
It was Ike Perlmutter's
why was
demand
it decided
that he wanted it to replace the X-Men.
Right. What in the film continuity?
In the film continuity, the Inhumans were going to take the place of the X-Men.
Yeah,
that's how he saw it.
But I guess the trouble is, it had already been mentioned on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, not mentioned. They went.
They were there, weren't they?
They were actively involved. And yeah, I mean, the series is terrible. I mean, they only made it because IMAX co-funded it. IMAX put up half the money for it, and it didn't quite work out for them. I mean, already aired episodes of Game of Thrones pulled in more viewers than this did in an IMAX screen. So go figure. So, final review for our radio listeners this week, then?
Yeah, I'm just not going to listen to it.
You're not a fan?
I have no interest in this whatsoever.
Oh, no. Please, let me try and bring you in. Because actually, for once, you and I share an opinion on this one.
Good.
Okay, you don't like Bad Moms.
I don't.
Right. I did like Bad Moms.
You're an idiot.
I share your opinion, however, only I translated across to A Bad Moms Christmas, which takes place, it seems to be a year later. It's never particularly described. I mean, this comes only 15 months after the release of Bad Moms.
Yeah, I watched a Christian Bell interview. She said that they made the first one, Mila Kunis, and the press tour was like about to drop her kid, and she had the kid, and then we went straight back into shooting.
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like that. This apparently was filmed back in May in Georgia.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because they were casting it in like February and March. I mean, like, how is this coming out in February?
It's weird, isn't it?
In November.
So this basically takes place in the 6 days leading up to Christmas. It literally, I mean, it comes up on screen in big letters, 6 days to Christmas, 5 days to Christmas. So immediately you kind of get where this is going. And it is the three bad mums from the first movie make a similar pact to what they did last time around, which is, do you know what? Let's do Christmas our way and defy convention. Only their ideas kind of conflict with the arrival of their three very, very different mothers, all of whom have their own idea of what Christmas should involve. Here's a clip.
I'm Carla's mom. Hi, Isis. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice to meet you. Hi. You must be Amy's mom. I'm Carla. Jackson, honey, Mama needs more hooch.
Ooh, good idea.
Yeah. That's my son, Jackson. This is my mom, Isis.
Hello, Ruth. Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
ISIS, like the terrorist organization.
This is my mom, Sandy.
Oh, hi, Amy. I've heard so much about you. Oh, boy, you really have the same haircuts.
Hello, I'm Ruth. I'm Amy's mom.
I'm Jesse. I was literally just in the car with you.
That's the joke.
That's the joke. Well, that's a joke. Yeah, it is a film like that, actually. You can sit through it and say, oh, look, that's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. And I sat up...
It's like going for Justice League.
Kind of like that, yeah. Oh, look, that's a big action spectacle, apparently. Yeah.
And they've done a joke.
This is the weird thing, though. I sat in a public screening for this, and I noticed that everyone over, say, 50 laughed at certain jokes, and nobody else laughed at them otherwise. And the weird thing is, those jokes that they tended to laugh at were the, oh my god, that's so extreme, I can't believe you ate a gingerbread man shaped like a penis. And I'm like, that's not really...
I would do that.
Inherently funny. I mean, it's gingerbread. You bring me gingerbread shaped like a penis, I'll eat it right now. It's gingerbread, man. That ain't a joke.
Any form of genitalia. As long as it comes from gingerbread.
Exactly. If it's gingerbread, I'll eat anything. I'll eat anything. It's gingerbread, man.
Same.
Yeah, totes.
This is a challenge for next week.
This is it. You come up with the most offensive piece of gingerbread you can, because you're a good baker.
I am.
This is based, by the way, is funnier and more interesting than A Bad Mom's Christmas. But yeah, you see what you can come up with. Yeah, the whole film, I didn't actually laugh out loud once. I think I scoffed a couple of times, like a couple of times. Those moments were mostly at the behest of Susan Sarandon, Catherine Hahn, and to a lesser extent, a male stripper character played by the first Green Arrow, Justin Hartley. Remember him? Yeah, Smallville's Green Arrow.
Okay, Justin Hartley's one of the three leads on one of the biggest shows in America
This Is Us.
I know. He is huge.
I know he's huge.
TV's first Green Arrow. Yeah. Go away.
I'm just putting that out there. Anyway, by the way, if you look at when this would have been made as well, This Is Us wasn't really the massive hit it was at that time. So actually, this is quite visionary casting.
It would have been. Yeah, it would have been.
But
let's stop arguing about this. It's irrelevant.
But you know what? He's got amazing abs, and
he does.
And he looks good with his shirt off, and he's very charming.
So, he's the same in This Is Us.
Yep, exactly. So isn't he's an actor in This Is Us, isn't he? He plays as like a Hollywood star.
Yeah.
I need to finish. I only watched the first three.
Yeah, we started season 2. It's really good.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the pilot. It was great. Anyway, back to Bad. Oh, it's better than Bad Mom's Christmas anyway. Bad Mom's Christmas scoffed a few times.
Just
didn't
carry
laugh.
on watching This Is Us.
Yeah. I came away from it thinking, well, that was the worst spin-off setup I've seen since Batman vs Superman. Although strangely, still about 10% better. I didn't feel like any of the three leads, bar Catherine Hahn, were really putting in much of an effort. Mila Kunis seems to have left the charisma at home. Kristen Bell has next to nothing to do. Charlotte Hines' character is dead on arrival. Christine Baranski's character is about as paint by numbers for a Christine Baranski character as you can get.
Well, of course. It's feel like just get me a Christine Baranski type.
You know how you can download plugins for apps? I feel like they literally purchased the Christine Baranski plugin, and it just adds the character prefabbed into an existing screenplay, because that's what Christine Baranski is playing. And having spent the last 20 years as a very big fan of the Dennis Leary Christmas comedy The Ref, which annoyingly also stars. Yeah, we can't watch that now. Oh, my mother's going to be heartbroken.
I only discovered that pretty recently as well.
I love that movie so much. Incidentally, by the way, that was a thought I had during this movie. My mum would love this. Other than that,
I'm sure a
I
lot.
don't think anyone else would. I really thought it was a weak, lazy sequel, and I can't, in good conscience, ever recommend it. So, alas, it is not our film of the week.
Shocker. Should we go for one that we've both seen?
What do you think should be film of the week, Mr. Allen? Because you've got a good idea this week. What do you think?
I'll go with that Psycho film.
That's like 7852.
I mean, because I can't choose Predator. If I'd not seen Predator before, Predator. Yeah. But I have, because it's Predator.
I think, on principle alone, Predator is film of the week. But if you need a new film to be film of the week, it's 7852. How about we'll split the difference?
Yeah, amicable.
And that can be it. That's an amicable difference. Predator is film of the last 100 years even, but maybe not. But 7852 as well. So next week, some interesting stuff. Next week, we're going back to London with Paddington.
I genuinely can't wait.
Can you not? I can't wait.
I loved that first film.
Chris Honeysett saw it at screening. Put on Twitter. It's the family movie of the year with Hugh Grant. With Hugh Grant as the villain. Yeah. To which my response is, what's the family film of the year without Hugh Grant as the villain?
just superimpose him afterwards. Apparently he's amazing. Yeah.
I've heard this too. We've also got Only the Brave next week with your boy Miles Teller.
Don't associate him with me. Don't make him my boy.
You. By the way, Miles Teller's comedic career is attributed solely to the directors of Bad Moms and A Bad Mom's Christmas. So, that's...
Who? What? Why?
John Moore and Scott Lucas, who wrote and directed 21 and Over.
I forgot all about film. Yeah.
Next week we've also got, and this is one you might be quite excited for, Professor Marston and the Wonder Women next week.
Oh, that's soon?
Yeah, well, it's already been out in the US. We've got Felicité next week. We've got Kaleidoscope next week. I don't know why.
No, it's kaleidoscopy.
I don't know why I've just said it that way. I don't know. Kaleidoscope.
Yeah, it's kaleidoscopy.
Weird. Okay. Is it? Oh, no. I don't know. It might be an accent on there that I've forgotten. We've got Fireworks next week, which is an anime issue as well. We've got The Florida Project, which I understand you're looking forward to. That's from the Tangerine director, isn't it?
Sean Bacon. It's got Willem Dafoe, not Willem Dafoe.
Not Willem Dafoe. Okay.
Willem Dafoe.
And A Caribbean Dream. Do you know about this one?
That sounds like a rum-based cocktail.
It's a remake of A Midsummer Night's Dream with a Caribbean cast.
I am so in for that.
That sounds awesome, doesn't it? So we've got all those to come and more next week off screen. In the meanwhile, this has been a Caddy Stokes for On Screen. I've been Van Connor.
I've been Marjorie Prime.
And we'll be back.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Off Screen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
Podcast extras for everyone who wants extra bits.
Stuff, extra bits.
Extra bits of stuff and pulp, and we're a bit like Tropicana.
Tropicana of film coverage.
Yeah. No one has said ever.
Exactly. It's what all the cool kids are calling us. So, some news to take us to the bridge then. So, something big, something major, something kajunga.
Something all-encompassing that is the only thing people have been able to talk about in Hollywood.
Okay. Really?
So, obviously the Harvey Weinstein thing came out.
I'd heard murmurs about it. It's not like it gets a lot of coverage.
I mean, you think Weinstein, you think Bob. Don't you? You never think.
And no one ever thinks
Harvey. Shy and retiring Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. He's such a docile character.
Isn't he?
He's a teddy bear. Is Harvey
Those
Weinstein.
2 words have never been in the same sentence.
Docile Harvey Weinstein. No,
First time. All the stuff about him and his behaviours.
His exploits.
Over the last 3 or 4 decades have been coming out. Now things are coming out about more people in Hollywood, more other high-profile names, and people that maybe you kind of if you hear them, you're like, it kind of makes sense. But other people, you're just like, oh no, why? Please, why?
So who we got this time?
Person. So the one that's come out today is Brett Ratner.
Brett Ratner. Okay. I don't have a disastrously high opinion of Brett Ratner anyway.
I don't think a lot of people except for Brett Ratner do.
No.
And maybe Jeremy Piven.
Well, yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
But,
some things have come out about him today. A number of high-profile actresses have gone on record about sexual harassment and misconduct carried out by Brett Ratner on sets. So, Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn? What film has Olivia Munn done with Brett Ratner?
I'm trying to think about that.
Let me think.
To be fair, it might be that they never even worked on a film together. It might have been going to work on
Mind you, he produces a lot of films, though, doesn't he, now? Through the Rat Pack label.
And Rat Pack produced some really good films. Yeah. It's surprising how good and prolific they are.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's responsible for so many billion in revenue now through the Rat Pack label.
It's insane. And moving on from Brett Ratner, the really big one that came out a couple of days ago is Anthony Rapp, who you may know from Star Trek Discovery, and I know him through Rent.
Yeah, you're a Rent fan. I'm not really a fan.
I won't say I call myself a Rent fan, but I'm married to someone that's obsessed with musical theatre.
Okay.
I know who these people are.
So Anthony Rapp has been accused now? Or?
Anthony Rapp is not. Anthony Rapp is the one doing the
accusing
against Kevin Spacey.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is the House of Cards story that I've seen elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Anthony Rapp has gone on to say that when he was a 14-year-old child actor, he was working with Kevin Spacey on some theatre project, and there was an after party, and he invited Anthony Rapp. Well, I say invited. Sounds like he coerced him back to his hotel room and drunkenly propositioned him, and then got on top of him. And Kevin Spacey at the time was 26 or 28, I think he said.
This is grim.
Yeah.
It's not Spacey.
Kevin Spacey's now issued a statement about it.
Oh, I saw the statement.
We were talking about it when we were on the way down to London.
Yeah.
Saying that he has no recollection of this happening at all.
Was the statement, I don't remember it happening, but if it did happen, I was drunk. By the way, I'm gay. Wasn't that the thing?
Which a lot of people were mad about.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Because it reads like he's just throwing gay people under the bus. That is my excuse.
That was the bit of the statement. I choose to live my life as a gay man. That was what he said. It had the loaded implication that you can choose to be gay.
Because he's been with men and women.
Yeah, which weirdly means surely he's closer to his House of Cards character now than we'd like to admit.
Oh, Meacham.
He is, but you sort of think, given how devious, Machiavellian, outright criminal, and I think that character is, we now have to conclude that Kevin Spacey really has a lot in common with that character.
Yeah, well, speaking of House of Cards, they announced that they were in production for Season 6, and that Season 6 was going to be the last. And then they announced they were going to be doing spin-offs of House of Cards characters.
So the Robin Wright character's getting her own show.
Yeah, and
that's totally
the Michael Kelly character will get his own show. But now...
House of Stamper.
House of Stamper. I would totally watch House of Stamper. You just got stamped. Production has now been shut down.
Oh.
So Season 6, presumably, isn't even... It's on, indefinite hiatus now.
God.
Kevin Spacey.
I know. Although I was reading a Scott Mendelson piece on Spacey that said and the whole point of the article was that it said that Kevin Spacey's career was over long before this. That his career was already flatlined before this, in that he's not been a major pull for decades. And he takes
not in the cinema world, no.
Not in the cinema world, and he takes it back to the failure of Pay It Forward. Apparently, that's where it all went wrong. If Pay It Forward hadn't,
I didn't realise Pay It Forward was a failure.
Well, there's the thing, apparently it was a dud when it opened. He briefly had some star power a year later with K-Pax, but then after that fizzled out again. But I always liked The Negotiator. That was always my favourite.
With Samuel Jackson?
Yeah. Tell me why, Danny. Tell me why I should deal with you ever again.
Yeah, that's a good one of that era, Spacey.
F. Gary Gray directing as well.
I know.
I love
F. Gary Gary.
F. Gary Gary.
Yeah, but it's
what's Gary Gary ever done to you, man? Why are you being all F. Gary Gary?
F. Gary Gary, man. He... what was that film? Is it Swimming with Sharks or Sleeping with Sharks?
Swimming with Sharks. One of my favourite ever movies.
Yeah. And who is that guy that plays the lead? Because he's
Frank
in...
Wally.
Yeah, he's in Pulp Fiction for 2 minutes. Literally 2 minutes.
More impressively, I think you'll find... He is the absentee dad in Monster Trucks, my friend.
Yes, he is. Lest you forget, he's in Luke Cage as well for a little bit.
Yes, he's on the London West End stage version. He was played by Matt Smith, and the Kevin Spacey character was played by Christian Slater.
Oh, I'd watch that.
You would watch the hell out of that, wouldn't you? Like Christian Slater is that character.
Yes.
There is a line of dialogue from that movie that I have used ever since the first time I saw it.
Are you allowed to use it on a podcast?
Yes, I am. It's that line of dialogue when he's telling the guy how unimportant he is. And he says, "You mean nothing to me. My bath mat means more to me than you." And I have genuinely used that line so many times in my lifetime. But not that I often tell people.
Yeah, not that I'm a cruel, sadistic
no
SOB or anything.
Just,
but,
my expendable view of people.
Yeah, well, I've got to talk to my mum once a year, so I need some conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of heartless people, can we talk about Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah.
So Silence of the Lambs is back for is it one day? Is it back for one day?
Is that all it's back for? I mean, we've all seen it like 1,000 times.
We've all seen it 1,000
anyway.
times. It's back, it's cleaned up, it's on the big screen again. And so Anthony Hopkins, Clarice Starling, all back in one fantastic package. Wasn't this won Best Picture, didn't it?
It won the Big Five.
It won the Big Five.
Yes.
Best Actor, Best Actress, Director, Picture...
Screenplay.
Okay. I didn't realise it won that many.
Yeah. I think it was the last film to do that as well.
Really?
Yeah, there's not been another film to do the five since then, because of course Titanic won loads, no acting Oscars.
Oh, yes, good point. Well, I don't think anyone wanted to give Billy Zane his much-deserved Academy Award for acting. He'll get it one day.
Put a cork in it, Zane.
I believe in you, Zaney.
I want to live in a world where Billy Zane gets like a Lifetime Achievement Oscar.
I know. One day it'll happen, and they'll play, on that highlight reel, they will play footage from The Phantom. That's what counts. Anyway, so directed by Jonathan Demme, written by Ted Talley, based on the novel by Thomas Harris, starring Jodie Foster, starring Scott Glenn, starring Ted Levine, and of course, starring none other than A-Hop himself, Sir Anthony of Hopkins, of the Welsh Hopkins. And... So
of the Pembrokeshire Hopkins, I believe, yeah.
So of the... how do you summarise this story? So you've got a young FBI recruit, Clarice Starling, who is sent into an institution for the criminally insane to interview an incarcerated serial killer, Dr. Hannibal Lecter, who audiences were already familiar with for having appeared in novel form in Red Dragon and in cinematic form in the adaptation. Brian Cox form in Manhunter, wasn't it?
Manhunter.
Yeah, so Red Dragon is Manhunter as a film, yeah. So either way, the character existed before Silence of the Lambs. He's now played by Anthony Hopkins, and he is there to provide insight into catching a new serial killer, Buffalo Bill. And he's played by Ted Levine, and, well, I don't really want to reveal too much. If you've never seen the film, which you absolutely should have, you should have. It's an amazing movie. And I'll tell you what, we'll prove it to you. Here is a clip of the first time Starling and Dr. Lecter meet.
Good morning.
Dr. Lecter, my name is Clarice Starling. May I speak with you?
You're one of Jack Crawford's, aren't you?
I am, yes.
May I see your credentials?
Certainly.
Closer, please. Closer. That expires in 1 week. You're not real FBI, are you?
Okay, so we kind of proved a point there as we were listening to that clip in which you and I were literally quoting along. Closer, please. Closer. Because it's so iconic. It's one of those films, like you and I watched that thing about Psycho, the other day we watched that Psycho documentary, 7852, and there was that moment where we both looked at each other and laughed when they included The Simpsons parody of the shower scene from Psycho.
There was so many clips of it included, but yeah, The Simpsons one in particular.
Because, of course, you and I know that The Simpsons has parodied literally everything, including Silence of the Lambs, but Silence of the Lambs is such a parodied thing now. You look at things like South Park, you look at the number of... Did you ever see National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1?
I did. I love that film.
That brilliant parody with F. Murray Abraham. Again, what did Murray Abraham ever do to you? But every time now. And this is the thing, it's such...
I can't think of any more.
I know, I can't either. Scott Fitzgerald, but that's obviously where the joke comes from. But this is the thing, it's the genesis of so much spoofery and parody and influence in that way that Blade Runner is, in the way that 2001 is. It's one of those films that came out the gate and just set a trend forever. And so much so that even when they've tried to go back to the Hannibal Lecter well, they've never managed to recapture the magic. So Red Dragon never quite did it. Hannibal never quite did it. Hannibal Rising is best forgotten by everyone, including Thomas Harris's accountant. But yeah, I think we're kind of done with it. But the thing is that this film absolutely holds up and it shouldn't ever be touched. Jodie Foster is amazing in it. Anthony Hopkins is a god in this movie. Scott Glenn, perfect mentor figure with that sort of weird sexual undercurrent that there is between him and Jodie Foster.
What's the name of the guy that plays the doctor who's in charge of the ward?
Oh, do you mean Anthony Heald?
I hate him so much.
Is it Heald?
Yeah.
I love him, though. You love to hate him.
You love to hate him.
Yeah.
He is just so, seedy.
I know, he's so good for that character, though.
He's oily.
Yes,
he? Yeah.
He is an oily lizard, and it's such a great performance, though, isn't it? And also, he's one of those characters, though, that the minute he turns up, you know he's going to play that role later.
Yeah. He's only in it for 4 minutes.
He's only in it for 4 minutes.
Well, he's not in it for that long.
He's in it for less time than Peter Gallagher's in A Bad Mum's Christmas.
Oh, I'm definitely not seeing it now. But how long are Peter Gallagher's eyebrows on screen for?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, he leaves his brows.
Two scenes.
But it's nothing but brows.
Nothing but brows. But yeah, I think for me though, the MVP of The Silence of the Lambs, other than Jonathan Demme's fantastic direction, is Ted Levine as Buffalo Bill, and I think he's genuinely terrific.
He's amazing.
I don't understand how he didn't have an A-list career after this film, because it was absolutely a performance worthy of it. It's a film that if you've never seen, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should go and see it immediately. It's a film that if you have seen it, you obviously love it already and you'll want to see it again. We have the poster on the wall in my house in a frame in my bedroom, and it terrifies a lot of people.
Except for you and your girlfriend.
Except for me and my significant other, yes. But I got Serenity, she got Silence of the Lambs. So, but yeah, it is a tremendous work. It absolutely holds up, and you should see it on the big screen if you get the chance. Have you ever seen it on the big screen?
I've not. I would really love to.
I think I saw it at uni on the big screen for the first time, and then I've gone to cult classes.
I've seen it more times than I can remember.
And you know what? Deservedly so. It's a great movie. It really is.
I've seen it at least once a year every year since I saw it that first time.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Good on you. But, okay, I'm going to pass it over to you for some film news then before we do the last review of the week. What do we got?
Okay, we have a release date for Creed the Second.
Creed the Second? I hope that's
Creed. It would be amazing if
Creed the Second. That'd
Creed
be a
the
good
Second.
title, yeah.
Creed Chapter 2.
Creed Squared.
Creed Squared.
Creed Squared.
Yeah. Creeder.
Ooh, Creeder.
Creeder.
Ooh, I like that. Go on.
I mean, I'm disappointed that, when I went to go see it, there was no Scott Stapp, there was no music of iconic 90s Puerto Grunge band. Creed.
Can you check me higher?
That's all that film was missing.
I know.
Needed, My Sacrifice and the soundtrack.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
what if I...
Did you ever watch the show Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yes, I did.
There's one where it's Scott Stapp versus Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam.
Oh, good God.
And he's like, give me back my voice. And he's like, it's my voice too.
I always think of him when I watch that bit for the first Ted movie, and they're sort of taking the mick out of 90s singers. He says you could sing literally any 90s song using just vowels.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's using Hootie the Blowfish, but the way he sings it is Scott Stapp. The A-I-O-U.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So Creed 2 comes out on the 21st of November next year.
I'm so in. I'm absolutely
I am in. I am less in than I was for the first Creed.
Really?
Yeah.
Any reason?
Sylvester Stallone. And the absence of Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, I suppose. I think Ryan Coogler was a defining
I'm definitely going to see it. But it's definitely just going to be a rehash of the first one, but with Ivan Drago.
I worry about it being more of a Rocky sequel than a Creed sequel. I think it needs to be...
If Sly's just taken over. Because that's one of the reasons why it works so well, is because he's such an amazing character, obviously, but he's even better now as a supporting character.
Yes, that's it. Rocky absolutely works better in that capacity in these movies.
Now, yeah.
Making this more part of the Rocky canon, I think, is a bad idea. I wouldn't have done Ivan Drago ever. Because also... does that not then take the narrative back into sillier terrain?
Definitely.
Because in Creed, they went out of their way never to mention exactly how Creed
Let's
died.
not mention Rocky 4. As great as it is, let's not mention it.
Yeah, let's not mention that time that Apollo got killed by a Russian super soldier. Yeah.
I want it to be a twist where we find out that it's not actually Creed's song, it's actually Clubber Lang's. That'd be amazing.
Adonis Lang.
Adonis Lang.
That would be awesome.
No one would see that coming.
No.
That'd be such a good twist.
So Felicia Richard gets a really good role where she turns up and has to tearfully admit.
That's where she had an affair with Clubber Lang, yeah.
That's where his tempers come from all these years.
Because Clubber Lang was like, hey woman. I want to see what a real man's all about.
It was on Sky Cinema the other day, and I was supposed to be doing some work. I just got sucked into it.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh man, it really is. You did meet.
I just love that bit of the statue unveiling where he rocks up to the statue and is like, he ain't real champion, he ain't no champ. You ain't no champion.
Love it. All right, okay. Final review then for the week. Let's talk about Ferrari Race to Immortality, which is actually, do you know this is the third Formula One documentary we've had this year?
That's a lot.
Did you even know that? 'Cause
I did not. I thought it was Senna years ago, and no other examples.
Well, this year we've gone through McLaren and Williams, and now we're at Ferrari. So yeah, okay. So this is directed by Darryl Goodrich, and this is basically not so much the background of Ferrari. We do get that sort of early on, like a very brief, truncated version of that, but it is the rise and rise and rise of Enzo Ferrari. It's filmed in that brilliant Senna-like style, in that Asif Kapadia-like style of we'll never use talking heads. It is all
poor David Byrne.
Yeah, I know. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's all voices, it's all archival footage, and it's all tremendous editing. And what you get is it looks at the rivalries that emerged, the relationships that he had with his racers. I almost said players then. With his racers, the relationships he had with friends and with relationships off screen, off the track. And well, yeah, I mean, it's a story Ferrari. Here's a clip.
It was an era of great glamour and great risk. These men went out to drive these red cars, not knowing whether they would come back alive.
When it came to running drivers, Ferrari's approach was the more pressure you put on them, the faster they will go.
Well, they were rather like fighter pilots. Or gladiators, I suppose.
So this does focus quite heavily as well on the relationship between Peter Collins and Mike Hawthorne, who were the British racers who joined Ferrari in, I think, the 50s, I think. And they were sort of the poster boys for a while, but they were also best friends. And there's a really intriguing way of going into this story in which they focus on these two friends and how Ferrari himself liked to foster animosity and competitiveness between his drivers. And so like he could only have 4 available at one time, but he had 5 drivers. So someone always had to sit it out. And these two being so friendly kind of screwed him a little. And he hated the fact, and he didn't know until after he'd hired them that they were as chummy as they were. And the relationship is really sweet and really interesting and actually something to actually enjoy watching unfold on screen. The depiction of Ferrari himself, thankfully, doesn't shy away from his nastier elements because he was a hard-edged guy who really had no interest outside of racing. And we get him on tape admitting as much. Him actually saying, I don't have a life outside of driving. I wouldn't want one. And that's absolutely fair enough. It doesn't shy away from, depicting anyone in a negative light. It doesn't shy away from depicting the nastier side of racing either. There's a lot of footage in here that is absolutely harrowing to watch. Just accidents and things like that where they happen to have been caught on camera. In a time when racing wasn't really a televised sport, but they happen to have footage of these open-top racing cars flipping over and bodies just being absolutely snapped in half and guys being thrown hundreds of feet through the air. And it's absolutely mortifying at times, and yet at the same time absolutely exhilarating. It is a brilliant encapsulation of what it must have been like to be in that sport at that time, and you can actually see why it fascinates so many people in this. Surprisingly, we don't actually get more works of narrative fiction set in the racing world, actually, because you watch something like this and think there is.
We just get a lot of biopics, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, other than a biopic, because we're getting a Ferrari one from Michael Mann, aren't we? Is that still happening?
Christian Bale, I believe that's still happening.
Did he drop out or did he not? I don't know.
I think he'll have to I need to see a picture of Enzo Ferrari, really.
It's a large Italian man.
Well, that's all right then. I guess you work your way up to Dick Cheney.
When you're on the way back down, weight-wise, you stop at Enzo Ferrari about halfway. And okay, that's
it, yeah.
So have you got a final piece of film news for our podcast edition then?
So Jeff Goldblum is apparently only going to be a minor presence in the Jurassic World sequel.
Is that Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like that title.
I hate it. I hate it almost as much as Welcome to the Jungle.
But I can go with that, yeah. What would you prefer, Jurassic Universe? Jurassic Planet?
I don't know if it needs... I prefer that to Fallen Kingdom.
Would you just prefer Jurassic World 2?
Yeah.
Or my personal favourite, Jura-5ic?
Or maybe just Jurassic Kingdom.
Ooh, Jurassic Kingdom would have been awesome.
That would have been nice. Especially if it's been set in the UK, which it seems to be. Call it Jurassic Kingdom.
Okay, I would absolutely have gone with that. Yes. Do you know what? I'm with you. That is a better title.
Thank you.
Fallen Kingdom sucks. Down with Fallen Kingdom.
It's all a bit Transformers, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah. Fall of Man. That's the Mockbuster version, isn't it?
Yeah.
By the way, I watched Geodisaster, the Asylum's Mockbuster version of Geostorm.
Even though Geostorm is the Mockbuster version of Geostorm.
You would think Geostorm would be its own Mockbuster. No, Geodisaster. Yeah. But anyway, so Jeff Goldblum...
It's that thing where, it's you cannot parody it.
No, you can't. So Jeff Goldblum's going to be in he's not going to be in it very much. Is that the point?
He's going to be in it, but he's going to be a minor presence, per se.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But like a minor just a minor cameo, basically.
Probably, yeah. But maybe he'll come back for future ones. Maybe that's what's going to happen.
Well, we can hope. But, he was kind of a cameo in Jurassic World, so...
Yeah.
In book form.
In book form. There's a photo of him.
What was the name of the book? Do you remember? Because I couldn't remember this the other day. Is it God Creates Dinosaurs? Oh, Man Creates Dinosaurs. Is that it?
Maybe, yeah.
Or Man Kills... It's a variation on that,
Of
isn't
the
it?
thing.
Yeah. But, that's sad times.
I want to have Sam Neill back.
I know, me too. Oh, well. So should we leave it there for this week for the podcast edition?
No, unless you can tell me Sam Neill's going to be in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
I'm afraid I cannot do that, sir.
Then you suck.
On which note, here it is, your moment of Cage.
There is no one else in this entire office that I could possibly ask to share such a horrible job. You're the lowest on the totem pole here, Alva. The lowest. Do you realize that? Every other secretary who's been here longer than you, Alva. Every one. And even if there was someone here who was here just one day longer than you, I still wouldn't ask that person to partake in such a miserable job as long as you were around. That's right, Alva. It's a horrible, horrible job. Sifting through old contract after old contract. I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to. And you have to do it. You have to, or I'll fire you. Do you understand? Do you?